Hey everybody, today we're making potato soup with ham. It's straight out of my cookbook, and for those of you who have my cookbook, it's on page 82. For those of you who'd like to order one, I have just a few left, and it's called South Georgia Favorites, and there's a link that you can follow if you'd like to order a cookbook. And I'm not pushing it, but I just want to tell you I have a few left. So today I have all of my ingredients to make our potato soup. It is cold outside, so this potato soup with ham is calling my name. Of course, I could eat it if it was 90 degrees outside. Just turn on the air conditioner and eat this good potato soup. So I'm going to get started. I'll peel the potatoes, I'll dice them, and get them ready to put on the stove to cook. I have our other ingredients ready, and I'll be right back. Step one for making our potato soup with ham. Today I'm using red potatoes. I like to use these because the texture seems to hold up a little better, and I like the flavor of red potatoes. So I'm using 6 of these potatoes, and I have peeled and diced them, and I'm just going to place them in my large saucepan here. Now, I'm going to cover this with 5 cups of water. And there's a reason for using 5 cups of water. And you might say, well, how do you know you have 5 cups of water in that kettle? I measured it. What we want to do is to take this over to the stove, turn it on high, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down to medium low, and we're going to boil the potatoes for about 20 minutes or until they're tender. Once we boil the potatoes, then we're going to pour the potatoes through a colander and save the potato water, because we're going to need 4 cups of the potato water to make our potato soup. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt. Salt and pepper to taste is what we want to use in making our soup today. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in my potatoes and let it cook and absorb into the potatoes, and then it'll also be in the potato water. So I'm going over to the stove to get this started, and once these get done, then we'll move to step 2. So our potatoes are done, and I only had to boil them for 15 minutes. I drained the juice, and remember, we want to save the potato water because that's where the flavor is. And I have saved it, and I've measured 4 cups of potato water. So now I'm going to start putting it together by adding one whole stick of butter. Now this is salted butter, and these are half sticks. So you'll notice that I put 2, but that's equal to 1/2 cup of butter. So I left my salt or my butter out so that it could get soft, because it melts faster and the potatoes are hot. So I'm just kind of stirring the potatoes around to finish melting the butter. Next, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and gently stir that. Remember, your all-purpose flour is your plain flour. So I'm just kind of gently stirring that around. You'll notice that I didn't overcook the potatoes. And they're kind of staying in clumps rather than looking like mashed potatoes in our potato and ham soup. I kind of like that, although as we cook it further, they'll begin to fall apart more. Now, we're ready to add our ham. You can use any kind of ham that you like. I didn't have any ham left from Christmas, so I purchased a half pound. This is 8 ounces, which is 1 cup of diced ham. And I'm not advertising for Smithfield, but that is a very, very good ham. So I'm just adding that to our mixture here. Next, I'm going to add some fresh parsley. Now, my recipe in my cookbook calls for parsley flakes, and if you don't have fresh parsley, then you can certainly use the flakes. But I'm just going to add, my recipe calls for a teaspoon of flakes, but I'm just going to add probably about 2 teaspoons of fresh parsley. That gives it a little color and it gives it a little more flavor as well. Now we're ready to add our liquids. 4 cups of potato water. This is hot, so be careful with it when adding it. 4 cups of potato water that was reserved from boiling the potatoes. I remember the first time that I ever made this soup, I knew that the recipe said to save the water from the potatoes. Y'all, I poured it right down the sink. I put that colander over in my sink and I just poured it. I just drained my potatoes. Well, there went my good flavored potato water. Now we're ready to add our milk. This is whole milk and I'm just adding 2 cups of whole milk. How simple can it be? Oh, this is going to be so delicious. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add some pepper. I'm going to go lightly on this because it can certainly be added at the table, but I'm just going to add a little bit so those flavors can begin to blend together. Doug doesn't handle pepper really well. You could use the white pepper. It's a little bit more mild, and a lot of times I'll use that instead of just the regular black pepper. So now this is ready to go back on the stove on medium heat, and I'll continue to cook it and stir it until it thickens. Our soup is ready to serve, so I'm just going to stir it. I took it off of the heat and it has rested for about 15 minutes. It will continue to thicken a little bit more. And I wanted to tell you, I cooked this about 15 minutes on medium to medium low heat. And you want to stay with it so that it doesn't stick in the bottom. So now let's serve up a cup of this delicious potato soup. So I'm just going to dip it just like that. Doesn't that look delicious? Now what am I going to do with this cup? I'm just going to set it right there. So now let's top it. And there are several toppings that you can use. Today I'm using grated cheddar cheese. I love that. You could use bacon that you've fried and chopped up. You could use chopped chives, or you could use green onions. Any of that would be so delicious. So now it's ready to taste. Okay, let's taste this potato and ham soup. Y'all, I told you it's cold outside, so this soup is perfect for a cold winter day. Look at it. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can bend down here so you can see me. I want some of all of it. Look at that. Oh, doesn't that look scrumptious? Look at that cheese just dripping off there. That is so delicious. Oh my goodness. Let me get a potato. Look at that. I hope you'll try this recipe. And I appreciate you watching today. If you feel like you would like to share this recipe, I would appreciate it. Maybe a young person would like to make some potato soup. Or maybe you could make some and take to a friend. That's what I'm going to do. I've got too much over there in that pot. So I'm just going to put it in some little cups, hot cups, and head down the street. And somebody's in for a treat. I'll see you later.